Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Wednesday evening, we are halfway through the week, and this evening we are talking about being prepared and how it never works. Um, where I'm going with this one is I went to go and visit mum today. She's still in the hospital. It's a psychiatric hospital for, what does it call it? The psychiatry of old age. They're looking to try and put her into a care home, but her needs are growing, which lessens the chance of her being able to get put in a care home. So she's still in a hospital environment, which she's not loving that much. Now, that's all well and good. I've sorted that. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I've had to deal with, selling my parents' house for care home fees, losing my dad. We've now got mum in hospital. And you can be as prepared as you want. You can be as prepared as you think you could ever be. But there's always something will get you. There's always something you wouldn't have thought of. I certainly did not think that at this time in my life I would be dealing with so much of my parents' stuff. I thought my parents were going to go on for a lot longer than they have. I thought my life was just going to carry on as it has done, and it didn't. It changed. Obviously, we then had the pandemic with lockdown. Did anyone thought of that? That was never something I thought would happen in my lifetime. You know, it's it's just such a shock to the system. So now we're sort of having done that, and I know there's many people have been preparing for a lot longer than I have. I am absolutely a newbie to this. But once you make the decision to start preparing, the first thing you think of is like, get your foods, get your meds, get your stuff. And a lot of us forget about paperwork. And it's not so much, the most important thing we hear about paperwork is make sure you've got all your insurance policies and documents and stuff in a bag in case you get flooded or in case there's fire, preferably in a metal box for fire, just in case. And that's what we prepare for. But what we don't prepare for is things like the mortgage rate rising, a lack of housing, jobs changing, as I say, a pandemic, family, things happening in families, whether it's birth, marriage, death, divorce, care. There's so much can change at the drop of a hat. And it's so difficult to be prepared for all that. I have to say one of the biggest things that the best thing my parents ever did was set up the power of attorney while they were still compos mentis to do such a thing. That saved me so much hassle. It saved them so much hassle because it meant I could deal with things instead of having to go through the courts to get the courts to make a decision. That was quite a big thing. So that is something to be wary of, to be careful of. Who's going to look after your affairs if you get ill? And as I say, it's just having visited mum tonight, and there was just this whole thing going in my head going, how do you actually prepare for that? And if, unlike me, you're not an only child, which brother or sister deals with what? Is there going to be one who just deals with everything? That's a bit unfair. Are you going to split it that one person does that or another person does that? Who knows? And then you start thinking, right, okay, obviously my head is minced just now, so just bear with me. But if I'm starting to think like that, then I'm thinking, right, okay. So if you're splitting responsibilities for, say, your parents or for family, what about doing that in the house for your preps? Someone can take care of the garden preps. Someone can take care of the fire preps, like cutting wood and stuff if you've got a wood burner. Someone can take care of the frozen stuff. Someone can take care of the dehydrating, of the canning. Or is it going to be one person that does all that and the rest of you support them? Because leaving it to one person without support, that's just no fair. And I'm very big on the fairness thing. So, yeah, there's all these things going through my head just now of we can think we're prepared because we've got a bit of food and a bit of meds. But there's so many other things that can hit us. What are we going to do if we lose our job? What are we going to do if we get evicted? What are we going to do if we get ill? Do we have a cunning plan for such things? And for most of us, if it's something like lose our house, lose our job, that is going to be catastrophic. Is there anything we can do to mitigate that, to make it slightly less? Can we have a little savings pot that will help us if we get evicted, that we've got the deposit for the next place? Because on many occasions, if your landlord's got your deposit, it can take you a long time to get it back. You have to be looking for somewhere and you have to be able to pay your deposit. So trying to get a little stash for that would be a good plan. Trying to get a little stash for losing your job would be good. Or can you make something and maybe sell on eBay while you're looking for another job, or sell at local markets or craft fairs? I know we all probably know someone who started sewing or knitting as a hobby and they started putting a stall up at local fairs. Could you do that? Just to try and make sure you've got a backup plan. Because I think for many of us, we've got the basics, but we need to think of backup plans just in case. Because I certainly have had quite a few shocks to the system over the past 3-4 years. And I have literally blundered through them and crossing my fingers and crossing my faith in my brain. I am lucky I have quite a wordy brain. I'm really rubbish at numbers, but I'm really quite good with words. So legal documents weren't that scary to me. For my daughter, she's really good at numbers and not as good at words. So that would have been so scary for her. So I'm trying to make sure that all my affairs are in order in case anything happens to me, so that it's easy for her to navigate. So yeah, being prepared. It's a whole lot bigger than I originally thought. And I just thought I would share that with you because I think that's possibly something to think of. So now I'm going to go and recover, have a cup of tea, and I'll catch you later.